Yeah, so MP-44's robot mode. It is very much cartoon accurate for sure. So big thing right here is when I was saying being careful, this is why I was telling you to be careful. See that? That's a nasty little gouge. That's because I wasn't paying attention and that little blue hook underneath the grill there, right there, gouged it. That's one of the two biggest problems with the paint, is this yellow paint and this gray paint are both very fragile, unfortunately. So be really careful and be prepared to, like, people have done stuff like seal it off with like, there's like clear coats, or they use clear coat or pledge or whatever, or repainted themselves. I'm gonna have to repaint mine. But this was definitely my own fault, but it is fragile, so be really careful about that. Very careful. But yeah, this is the robot mode for MP-44. And yes, there's the infamous backpack, but I think it looks amazing. I got this guy, and I had this big stupid grin on my face for like all day when I got this guy. I was playing with him, and just, yeah, this is an amazing figure, I think. I'm not gonna lie, yes, it's to show a lot of bias or whatever, but I think this figure is amazing. Even with the marks, like I also this part right here. There's a little, see that red. That one was my fault. I wasn't paying attention and captured up. Although it's looking like it's scratching is inevitable, but again, there's ways to fix that. I have a little ding on my Autobot symbol. I'm not sure you can see that, but there's a little ding there on the edge, but I don't mind it. I barely even noticed. Yeah, and there's some paint scuffing, I think, right here on the windows. But honestly, he still looks good, even with the scratching. It looks amazing. You can see that it's just so cartoon accurate. So cartoon accurate. It looks really good, I feel. Yeah, and I mean, there's a bunch of stuff. I mean, one of the big things, you heard it through the transformation a couple times, which is this voice box. There's a little switch here. It's on and off. It takes 3 LR44s, which they go in here. There's a screw. Philip has screwed 3 of them going there in the voice box, which is there. Yeah, there's 6 audio tracks, which you turn this on and well, that one means you've reset to voice track 1. And so each of them are like, So 5 of them are Japanese, and if you want to switch between the 6 audio tracks, you hold for 3 seconds until you hear the. When you hear that, switch audio tracks. And so now it's on track 2. Now on track 3. My understanding is these are from different series, different portions of G1 series. So there's that. So it's track 4, I believe. I don't know what he's saying. Yeah, that was track 5. So this is track 6. This is the most important track for most of us because that's Peter Cullen. They got Peter Cullen's voice work. I don't know why Takara did it, but I don't care. They did it. I don't know if it's a bone for us Western fans who buy these things or what, but they did it. It's like when we all found out, it was like amazing. And like it's one thing to hear, hear people's have recordings of it, but it's another thing to do. It's a whole nother thing entirely to hear it in person. It's amazing. Like, I don't know what that was, but that was like the moment for me hearing Peter Cullen's voice come out of this thing. I don't know how that works, but there's of all things, like I was like, oh, they shouldn't have done I remember I was there, like, I wish it wasn't so expensive. It was so dumb because, there's the audio stuff. They didn't need to do the voice box and blah, blah, blah. They should have done a stripped down version without the trailer, but it doesn't matter anymore because now it's like it's got Peter Cullen, so that changed everything for me. I know for a lot of people that won't matter, but for me personally, that changed a lot. So, yeah, that's one thing. Of course, his gun. Fold that up, and he got his good old gun, proper size this time. Can open up his hand, and once again, the usual Masterpiece tab slot system. Which, he has a good grip, actually. Both of mine. I've heard reports that some people like the right hand on their Optimus will not hold the gun, but both of mine do. But again, I'm just like my figure's left-handed. Yeah, I forgot to point this out, but yeah, you can flip the handle up like that, and have tabs in there. You can just put it in with those tabs, and right there, bam. And yeah, you can have his gun on his backpack. And the thing is, yes, it does in fact work on both sides. So there you go. Something I forgot. So here it is in the middle. What was the other thing I heard? Oh, of course, there's a bent antenna, which you can probably see that. It's just ever so slightly the bent antenna. Yeah, you can see that. A lot of them come like that. It's mine aren't too bad, but apparently the thing is, if they are bent, heat. Be careful with how much heat. You can melt them if you're not careful. But I heard something like 30 seconds with a hot air, my hair dryer should do it. But just be careful. You know, I can't be held responsible if you mess up your toy, your very expensive toy. But some of them are bent, but it is fairly easy to fix it. I've heard some people freak out because of the transformation, which is they've scratched up the face plate a bit when transforming. Just be really careful with that. Of course, there's the other thing you can do, which is just, if you really are too scared, you just pull the face off. Yes, because you can pull the face off because, hey, look, there's, well, like we saw earlier, there was the other heads. Including, the default is, well, as you see, the Season 2 head, which is my preferred head, but there's also the Season 1 head if you want. You can see the difference there. You know, it's more rounded off. And then you got the damaged movie head. Which, you know, the movie head, this one on mine, the movie head is a pain in the butt to deal with. I think something's slightly warped on the head itself, but it doesn't, because you have to really force it to get on. But there's that, and of course the it's really easy to slide it on and off. Yeah, it's just a matter of sliding on and off forward just like that, and it just pegs on to this little brick there, I guess. Simple. And the this piece, there's a little slot there. It just tabs on. It's that simple. I don't know if there's a slot on this side, probably just for symmetry's sake, but there's a slot on that side, I guess. But yeah, you know, you can do his little, you know, Megatron stabbed him. That was a thing. Yeah, it's pulling that off. Yeah, see mine. I don't know what the movie head in particular just doesn't like to come on and off. It gets stuck. I think there's something. Yeah, looking at it, there's like, it looks like something was made too tight because it looks this looks off. But yeah, there's also, of course, Season 1 head, which looks more like a baseball hat, which goes with his axe. Which this one, it's not like the others where it's, you know, fold the hand away or anything or slide it over the hand. It's, you pull the hand off. It's just on a little clip. Which, this would mean third parties, hey, look, there's a way to, you know, do extra hands, so you cool poses, and that just clips onto this, like so, and then you can rotate it, and yeah, now he's got his axe. He's got his good old axe, which, yep, it also has that rotation point, so you can have him hold it how you want. So that's neat. I kind of wish, you know, on one hand, you know, on one hand, I kind of wish you didn't have to pull the hand off. But on the other hand, this does make it so there's a possibility of like third-party extra hands, like, you know, non-posable hands, like, you know, splayed or different poses, because, you know, these hands are nice and stuff, but, you know, because they do pose. I'm going to switch it back to the Season 2 head because I prefer that. Yeah, I prefer the Season 2 head. Thank you very much. Personal preference. You can have your own preferences, but I just prefer that one. I think it looks the best. Yeah. So yeah, I guess posability, the thing I kind of been avoiding. Oh yeah, I forgot before I get to posability, which is this, and the other thing, which, yeah, you can do that. And the other thing, the other things, the jetpack can clip on. Right there. Just clips on. So Sideswipe's jetpack. I suspect this presses the button, though. So now he's back to Japanese. Dang it, I'm going to cycle through later on and get back to Peter Cullen. So yeah, there's that. And yeah, I forgot the final head accessory, which is Starscream here. Starscream, because that one episode, Megatron's Master Plan. So this, what you want to do is you'll have to, we'll lift the head up, and untab the backpack. Like that. You know, you have to untab the backpack because this right here, this slides over this tab here. See that? It slides over like that, and then you bring it back in like so. And you can pull Optimus' head off, and hey, look. Now you got Starscream pretending to be Optimus. What a tricky person. Shame on you, Starscream. Pretending to be Optimus like that. Yeah, that's kind of a neat thing, I guess. For me personally, that's going to be a kind of a whatever. But it exists if you want to reenact it or whatever. That's just one of those, like, you know, it's one of those things that feels like it's there to pad the accessory count out a bit. And just, that slides right off. It's pretty... Okay. There you go. Yeah, it just slides off. So there is that. Now we can get to articulation. So first thing is, yeah, head is on a ball joint, so lots and lots of range there. Go ahead and move this forward a little bit. There we go, that's better. And lots of range on that ball joint. Up and down, diagonal, set left and right. There's also this little platform which you can move forward so you can look really far down, although from the side it looks not so great. And so lots of movement there. Shoulders. Nice soft ratchet there, forward and back all the way around. There's outward up here, and there's also outward right there as well. Yeah, you got a lot of movement options. Butterfly joint, forward and backward. Although backward's kind of a, yeah, backward, forward. There you go. Lots of movement there. Bicep swivel, unhindered. Elbow joint, single hinge, but, you know, quite the curl. Wrists can swivel. Also, you can, there's a little bit of movement here, although that makes things on tab of those. You've got a tiny bit of side to side movement, if you so choose. Fingers can open. These three fingers are on one hinge, all are fused together, and then you got this separate finger. There's a hinge down at the base, and there's a second hinge for the knuckles. See, same with the finger. You know, same exact joints, but you know, it's by itself. Thumb can also go up and down. That's the hand articulation. Waist is a weird one. So he's like, oh, hey, look, there's barely any waist movement. However, if you untab this part right here, suddenly you got a lot more, plus an ab crunch. So you got waist rotation, about that far, and that ab crunch. And there's also a little hinge in there, so you can get a little bit of side to side tilt as well. There's a lot there. Hips. Lots of movement. Go forward very far. Go backwards pretty far. And also the cool thing is, because of the way this works, is like, how do you do this? Like, well, it automatically, there's a little tab there which automatically raises that up so you don't break the sculpt. Outward. Again, pretty far. Not about, yeah, about full splits there. Thigh swivel. Pretty good. Now the knees. Okay, the knees. Okay, the knees are a bit of a big thing, has been going on around. So the case in the knees. There are two knee joints. There's the upper one and the lower one. A lot of people's have been breaking. Mine have not. There's a fix out there which is pretty easy to do, which you can unscrew some parts and glue there's two pieces you can glue together. It's better than I can explain. There's two pieces you can glue together and that will thing. What happens is, if you notice, there's this little tab there, there's a little slot there. It's really hard to see, but see how well I can do this. See that this little tab thing and this little slot right there. What happens is you're supposed to bend the upper knee, and then this as I do that, this will move up till it lines up the slot, and then they'll let you bend the lower knee. But what happens is people bend the lower knee first, and then it breaks, it makes the plastic inside shear apart, and thus the ratchet stops working. You know, the knee will still bend, but the ratchet no longer works. Now there's a number of things going on between the plastic. The plastic inside is very it's not very strong, so, and it's not strong, and it's also pretty thin, so that causes it. There's some of them which are just broken out of the box, and some of it is, yes, there, as much as people don't want to admit it, there is some user error here in that, well, unfortunately, yeah, the problem is the user error on part because Takara didn't really adequately explain how the knees work, at least on our end of things. So it's like, I'm not sure if there's anything warnings in Japanese or something, instructions. There could be, I don't know. But anyway, it's a mix of a number of things basically cause the knees to break. Again, it just becomes a friction hinge, but that means there is sheared apart plastic inside. So if you want to prevent that, or yours is already broken, there is a fix for it. But yeah, on mine it still works, and people are saying it's inevitable that it'll break. I'm not sure if that's true, but I have yet to have issues, and I've gotten some pretty extreme poses on this. But yeah, you see that's so knee, upper knee, and then lines up. Once that lines up, then you can bend the lower knee. You get a totally different ratchet, and thanks to that, there is a lot of range of movement on the knees as long as you do it right. And when you're going back, though, lower knee first, and then the upper knee. So yeah, either be like me and be really careful, or well, still be careful even if you do fix it, or do the gluing fix. But they do. It is like that. The also nice thing is these little knee pads slide up and down based on where the knee is, so that's cool. So that is a thing. Mine's fine, but a lot of people have been reporting. I don't know how widespread it is. Honestly, it's like you see several dozen cases, but however, how many figures have been manufactured, and that's kind of the problem. Is like how many are broken versus how many are manufactured. And that kind of changes our perceptions. Oh my God, everyone's is broken. But could be just, well, there's like 100 broken out of like 10,000 manufactured. I don't know. Anyway, so that's the thing. And the ankles, there's a lot of ankle tilt. A lot of ankle tilt. So there's that. They also can move forward and back quite a bit. And there's kind of a pseudo toe thing as well, although that brings the heel with it. But that's actually genuinely helpful. So you can get some pretty good poses if you're, Yeah, you can get some pretty good poses. I posted some on Twitter. Like, yeah, you can get some good poses out of this guy if you know what you're doing. Yeah, posability is really, really nice. Just be really careful with those knees. That's it. That's the thing. Just be careful with the knees. If you're careful with them, they should be fine. But I don't know. People are claiming it's inevitable. I don't know if it's inevitable or not. But I have not fixed mine. I'm not trying to fix mine or anything because mine are still working. So, knock on wood. So yeah. So that's the articulation. Go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and do some comparison stuff. So bear with me for a second. Yeah, comparisons. Here he is with MP. Well, 20th anniversary Prime, but MP1. He kind of, a bit of a height difference there. Here he is with MP10. Roughly the same height, although proportions are a lot better in general. Just period. Just proportions are better. I mean, look at the legs and arms particularly. You can see the proportions are just generally better on the new one. And here he is with TE01B. Again, it's roughly the same size, although TE1's slightly taller. But you can tell they're also going for the same aesthetic overall. And not final, but here's MP36 because they're designed to go together. Again, you can see Megatron is weirdly slightly taller, just ever so slightly taller, which is kind of odd. Well, I think it's hard to tell, but yeah, there they are. MP36 is a little thicker, but Megatron was a war machine, Optimus was not, but whatever. And I guess final comparison is a Sideswipe here. Which, by the way, yeah, that jetpack, yeah. Sideswipe can wear it. They made sure of that. That's really nice. They made sure Sideswipe can wear the jetpack. That's really good. Although, of course, it's like almost everyone's Sideswipe, he can't hold his gun with crap. But hey, he can wear his jetpack, so that's something. Oh, yeah, a couple of more things I forgot to mention earlier. But hey, I remember, yeah, this. Remember how I said, yeah, this thing, and you can pull this off like that. Yeah, it's because this is also, like I said, this is a flight stand, and what you do is this little thing right here. This little, there's a little slider thing. Yeah, little slider thing here. You slide that up, and that's supposed to lock this into place. This part right here, and then you could slide this. There's little rails. If you see that, there's little rails in there, which there's little slots here. And you slot that on, and it's a flight stand. The thing is, it's not very good. This doesn't really actually lock worth beans. And people have tried to modify theirs. It's not the greatest. I don't trust it and I don't trust it at all. It kind of works, but I don't trust it. I don't want to use it, but it does exist. However, if you do still want a flight stand, there's a little clear piece in there, which is an adapter for Dinobot's stand. Which this is pretty easy. Just again, there's little rails here which go in there, and boom, boom, done. See, flight stand. It's an adapter for Dinobot's flight stand or whatever. So yeah, that's the final accessory, I swear. There's no more. I didn't forget anything else. That's all of them, as far as I can remember. So yeah, MP-44. I haven't really. I've only kind of slightly, I guess, vaguely alluded to the elephant in the room regarding the guy, which is the price. The other elephant, because yeah, this guy's going to cost you at this point minimum $330, and that's if you're lucky. Most of the domestic retailers are selling for $450. He's not cheap. Let's be honest about that. He is not a cheap figure by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, he's quite expensive. He is very expensive for what you're getting. He's a very expensive figure, and that's kind of the crux of the issue is he worth that much? For many people, it's going to be honestly no. For me, who collects primes and stuff, honestly, kind of yeah. I think he is worth that. Only because of the sheer amount of accessories he has. Yes, he has a ton of accessories. The thing is, I think if they did a dual release, like I've seen this with Figmas, Figma, they'll release one and they'll release a deluxe version, which has a whole bunch more accessories. If they released a version without the trailer and less accessories, that was noticeably cheaper, I think people would have been more receptive to this. But as it stands, because he is minimum $330, and that's if you're lucky, or like me and got it on, pre-ordered on Amazon a long time ago. Yeah. That's a lot of money, and even more than that. There's more. If you pay more than, you're probably paying closer to $400 now. He's not going to be cheap. Period. At this point, unless they do a re-release without a bunch of accessories, then yeah. Even then, though, there's probably still a lot to do because there's a lot of engineering in this guy. There's the electronics. There's the paint and the articulation. They really went all out, and the size of him too. They really went all out on this guy. So of course he's going to be expensive, and that's the thing is there are 2 third-party options now, which are noticeably cheaper, which are roughly $100 each or so, somewhere in that neighborhood. Easily, about a third of the price of this guy. But they do not come with the trailer and accessories. What was it? They come with the axe, the gun, and that's about it. And maybe another extra head or something. So it's going to come down to this. But here's the thing. This guy is incredibly posable as well. Again, his transformation is kind of insane, but also clever. There's a lot here going on here. So it's like, does he fully justify the cost? For a lot of people, no. For me, kind of, barely. Just barely. And for me, also, it's because it's Optimus Prime. If they said, oh, here's the 50,000 yen Galvatron, I'd be like, pass. I'm not getting that. I don't want Galvatron 50,000 yen. I will not buy Galvatron 50,000 yen. But because that's Optimus, though, it kind of changes it for me personally. And for a lot of people, that's the kind of the pushing fact. The deciding factor is the fact it's Optimus Prime. So that's kind of it's difficult to make a value proposition with this guy, really, because he's really good looking. He's got amazing engineering, but there's a ton of accessories, which some people will cynically just say they're there to inflate the price. And there's also, as many people have noticed, there's a lot of QC problems, including mine. You got paint, and a lot of people's knees are breaking. So those really hamper, really for a lot of people, really dampen the value prospect. If you're willing to deal with those problems, maybe. It's really hard to justify for a lot of people, I think. And for a lot of people, I understand if they're put off. They see that price point, they see the problems, they go, I'm not going to even try. I understand. But if you're willing to put up with those, you're going to get I think literally one of the best Optimus we ever got, and possibly one of the best Transformers. I'm not being hyperbolic. I literally think this is one of the best Transformers I've ever owned. Like, even with knowing about the problems, even with that paint scratch, it's like that. Particularly with mine, that was my fault. I, honest to God, think this is one of the best Transformers I've ever owned. I enjoy playing with it. I enjoy transforming it. Everything about this, I think, is amazing. But yeah, he does have problems, and he's also really expensive. So I get why people want to skip on it. And there's also the thing like people freak out about panel lines and rivets and stuff, and the third-party options look cleaner, which they kind of do, but they also can't do what this guy can do. TE01 can't do what this guy can do. I know that for a fact. I've tried. There's a point where you're kind of BSing it, or you have to accept that he can't do it. MSO1 can do some pretty good poses, but I don't like how it looks. So for me, this is the clear winner personally, but that's up to you. I mean, there's only so much I can do to, tell you one way or the other, but it's kind of down to you what you want and whatnot. And there's the other thing, which I completely spazzed on. In here is his matrix, which they're clever about how you did this, which you can actually kind of de-transform it a little bit. You go open this up, and if you want to, get the matrix out, that you can pull this out so you can actually, get the matrix. I always forget about these matrices, I swear to God. I always forget that these exist. They're like just in the chest, and I totally forget about it. Kind of like, But yeah, I think my understanding, this is pretty much the MP10 matrix, just with some different paint. So it's like, rather than a clear jewel thing, it's got a painted jewel. Yeah, it's a matrix. It's metal. It goes in there pretty well. They actually engineered a way to get it out easily, because it's always the problem is like they're really difficult to get out. But you just de-transform it a bit. Yeah, it's just it's really cool. The thing. I always forget about those though. So sorry about that. But yeah, it's just there's a lot there. There's absolutely a lot here. There's a lot of accessories, tons of accessories, possibly too many accessories. So it's one of those things that he kind of sort of justifies his price, but not really, depending on who you are. Yeah, so I can't really come down to judgment. I'm going to be super positive about it. I really like it, and I would honestly, if you're a huge Optimus Prime fan, you probably already have one. But it's kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's not easy to say one way or the other because of the problems. Like, yeah, you can get lucky and get one with like little to no problems, but you could also get one with all sorts of problems. I mean, I saw a person with 2 right hands, people with missing knee ratchets, someone who apparently had a missing foot, but those are also common QC problems. They're not common for this figure, like common in general. Like there's always the random what the heck's wrong with the hands or the foot or whatever. It happens all the time. It's inevitable, but I think it's one of those things that because he's already got the more well-known problems that are pretty more than one case reported, or more than 1 or 2 cases reported, well, with the knees and stuff, that's gonna, well, just make people think it's garbage. And I don't think it's garbage. I think it's great. And it's at least worth taking a look at. If you can get your hands on one before you buy it, try it. At least mess with it a little bit. Be careful with it too. But just know that there's a lot to it. There's a lot of engineering. I personally think it justifies its price. It's lower Amazon price. I would say if you can't find it for less than $400, I would not go for it. But if you can get it for less than $400, about $350 or less even, if you give it about $350, go for it. If you can't, I would skip, honestly. So that's the thing. It's just if you can get it for that lower price point, it just barely justifies its own price. But if you only find it at higher prices, I would honestly recommend skipping it. So yeah, that's the end of this saga of MP-44. There was a lot to talk about, to the point where I kept forgetting about stuff, and I'm almost certain I'm forgetting something else, but that's all I can think of. I honestly think he's great, but you may think differently. So that's it. I hope you like this. I hope you found it informative, entertaining. I hope you like, comment, subscribe. Click the notification bell, all that stuff. Support me on Patreon, or give me a little boost on coffee, whatever. Or don't, if you don't want to, that's fine too. That's it. I love this figure. So I'll see you next time with another video review.